Welcome back to Indiana Newsdesk. Widespread protests have brought teacher pay and school funding into the spotlight in several states. This year, Indiana educators have pressed for action on some of the same issues. Hundreds gathered for a rally earlier this month to send their message to lawmakers.
And I'm here because teacher pay is really important.
I also just recently went down an insurance plan. That way I have a lower premium and a higher deductible in order to have more monthly income in my pocket.
I love what I do. I work really hard, but I love what I do and I get to work with the best students.
This is the cornerstone of democracy, and it's an institution that serves every child.
There needs to be an increase in teacher pay.
There are no teachers coming up through the ranks. No one wants to do it.
We can do better than this.
Compensation is one of several key issues they say is vital to the future of teachers in Indiana. Education reporter Jeannie Lindsay is here to tell us more.
Absolutely. And most people agree teachers need more support, but educators aren't sure plans coming from the State House reflect the urgency of teachers' needs across the state and make up for past changes to funding.
Becky Stoltzfus says she's known since she was in 8th grade she wanted to teach. She followed her dream, and for more than 20 years now, she's been teaching in Kokomo. It's her passion, but with limited benefits and pay, she's questioning whether she needs to start looking into other career options.
And it breaks my heart that I might actually have to do something different.
It's hard to make ends meet when she has to provide for herself and her kids. Stoltzfus teaches 5 subjects, has a master's degree and a PhD's worth of college credits. She usually applies for free trips in the summers to travel the world and bring back pieces of history for her students. But this year,
I'm going to be looking for a second job. I'm hoping to either substitute teach here at the school, or I have friends that work at JCPenney.
Stoltzfus is at the top of her school's pay scale and has limited options to boost her pay. She cut back on her insurance coverage to earn more, and she's not the only one doing it. Many teachers say to fix the state's ongoing shortage and teacher crisis, a few things need to change. For starters, compensation they say is lacking because of poor school funding. Data shows Indiana's average full-time teacher pay lands at about $50,000 a year. That varies wildly from district to district. Still, teacher wages in neighboring states have only added to the pressure in Indiana. A report from Teach Plus and Stand for Children Indiana says the state needs to spend at least another $650 million each year to be competitive in the region.
We're leveraging a $150 million investment to save local schools $70 million a year.
That's one of the state's lead budget writers, Representative Todd Houston. He's talking about a plan to use part of the state's surplus to pay off some teacher pension debt. The idea is hopefully schools that see those savings will use the money to pay their teachers more. But there are a few problems with that idea. First, some districts won't see as much from the pension payoff. And secondly, there's no requirement schools pass on any savings to teachers. But that's why Houston says House Bill 1003 is crucial this year, too. It would publicize how schools manage their money and require the state to collect Indiana-focused teacher pay and school spending data.
What House Bill 1003 is, let's make it more transparent. Let's make sure communities understand where their dollars are being spent.
District leaders argue they've been working for years to cut costs and streamline expenses. The superintendent of Becky Stoltzfus district, Jeff Hauswald, says his corporation changed its health insurance plan to save the district money, but it created a ripple effect.
Some of that has come with sacrifices, right? We've had to create a plan that has higher deductibles. So there's an example. I talked to you in 2010. We went through a process and we closed 3 schools.
Hauswald is among school leaders who say they're in a position now where there's nothing left to cut, and the only option is more funding. But Houston is advocating for local communities to step up. He says schools can't rely on lawmakers to do everything.
You want to pay your teachers a bunch of money, and you want to have small class sizes, and you want to have very small schools. At the end of the day, you're probably going to need to add a local contribution to that.
a contribution made through something like a local voter-approved referendum. Only about 1/3 of Indiana's schools have tried to pass a referendum, and some districts can count on their community to pass those regularly. Others aren't as lucky.
Then we have other districts we know that probably would maybe never be able to get through a referendum for whatever reasons, mostly economic reasons in their communities.
That's Executive Director for the Indiana Association of School Business Officials, Denny Costerson. He says at this point, the state likely needs to consider another revenue source to help fund public schools. Either that, or there need to be fewer schools. Costerson says struggling schools may have to consider another hotly debated option, consolidation.
That's just the only other option I think that they have is to look that way.
But most schools cower at even the mention of the word consolidation. Teachers see low pay as one of several symptoms of a devalued field. Many blame a series of changes to the state's funding formula that's left a lot of public schools scrambling to come up with cash. Now teachers want a cultural shift toward more respect with better pay. They're professionals with a job to do. So will Kokomo teacher Becky Stoltzfus live out her dream of retiring as a teacher?
I don't know, and I hate the fact that I've actually started to question that.
Many other Hoosier educators face the same question. Should they stay? Right now, their answers depend on how lawmakers respond to their calls for more money. For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Jeannie Lindsay.
So, Jeannie, what are teachers doing to boost their income to try and help their students?
Yeah, one of the things that I thought was really surprising was how many teachers are cutting back on their insurance coverage in order to increase their take-home pay. And, you know, Becky Stoltzfus was talking to me about how she doesn't have short-term disability coverage anymore. And, you know, districts are doing it just so they have more income in their pocket. And, you know, another teacher I talked to near Fort Wayne said something similar. And this isn't related to his insurance, but he actually created a history textbook for his middle school students because funding is so tight.
And teachers are concerned about the future of teaching in Indiana, as we've heard. Can you explain a little bit more about how worried are they?
Yeah, so I mean, we've been talking about a teacher shortage in Indiana, and teachers who are in the classroom are really feeling that pressure. You know, they're looking for jobs, they're looking for different careers, or, you know, they're doing more work and getting less pay. And so new teachers are leaving within the first 5 years for other schools, districts, states. So for teachers like Becky Stoltzfus who are looking to leave to live her life with more money, it's really stressful and tough.
Jeannie, thank you very much for that report today. Appreciate it.
Thanks.